Hello, everyone, and welcome to Burn the Ship, the podcast that helps entrepreneurs go all in on their business, and we introduce them to professionals that can help them to do so. Today, we have a very special guest. Chris, how you doing today?
Doing great. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. I can't complain. Please introduce yourself and the name of your business.
Yeah, my name is Christopher Stuart. I reside in Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm a certified divorce coach, helping men and women navigate through the process of divorce.
Excellent, excellent. Now, we're definitely going to get into that. But before we do, Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to that particular point?
Absolutely. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, pretty much into sports my whole life. After college, kind of had the realization that I am an entrepreneur. I have ideas. I'm a risk taker. Kind of dabbled in many successful ventures. 2018, I experienced a divorce, terrible situation. Had a young child that was involved, so it kind of sparked something different for me. Because the situation was terrible, I just always wished that there was a better way to do it.
Yeah.
And then in 2023, I sold my businesses and I was kind of faced with, what do I do now?
Okay.
And I don't know, call it divine intervention, call it whatever you want to do. I'm in California playing golf and come across a divorce coach. And when I heard about it, I was just like everybody else, what the hell is that?
Yes.
Never heard of that.
Yeah.
Like, bro, where were you like 3 years ago? I could have used you. Like,
Right.
So it really had my entrepreneur like mind going in a lot of directions. So I'm texting my attorney friends back home, like, what is this? It's a thing. It's just not here in locally.
Yeah. See, it's not here just yet, but we're definitely going to talk about it and figure out, how we can get more light, shined on it. But let's talk a little bit about those entrepreneurial things that you did earlier. So, was it one of those things where you went to school and then you just became an entrepreneur from there, or did you just go straight into entrepreneurship? Tell us about it.
Well, actually, my path took a different turn. So I actually have a biology degree.
Okay.
So a biology degree is not a business degree. It's not an entrepreneur degree. It's I can dissect some stuff. I had the idea of going to medical school and ended up having a relationship, having a child. Had to make a decision. Do I want to be a father? Do I want to be a doctor? What do I want to do? I just had to face that crossroad. Wanted to be a father. So I had to figure it out. I took a few different jobs and then realized, okay, this is what I want to do. And so I went off and I bought into some liquor stores in Memphis. Created a really good surplus of cash for me. It was one of those where it was a check cashing business, and then ended up buying another one and another one. So it just kind of spun from there, and then got into some e-commerce businesses. And then sold everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had some experience in Memphis. I was in corporate for a while, and I was actually in Cordova. I lived in Germantown, too. But I lived in Cordova. I was at that Haverty's up there. So I was the manager over both of those stores, the one down.
Right, Costco?
Yep. So, yeah, I had some times up there, but it ran me away. I am from Georgia. I love the warm weather. And one day, I came out to my car, and it was one sheet of ice. So when I cracked it open, I started to look for transfer times. So I had to get from up there. But I had a great time up there. It was a great experience. It's one of my first true ventures in my corporate life. So I had some good times up there. I had some Bill Street action.
There's always some Bill Street action.
It was pretty good. So, all right. So now we're at that point where, okay, I'm going to sell these businesses, and now I'm going to start this new thing that is new to a lot of people, young out there. As the question that I usually ask, at this particular point, some sort of event happened to make you go all in on this business. So what is it that you said, hey, look, this event happened, I'm going to burn the ship and go all in on this divorce counseling?
When I sold my practices and stuff, and I remember having a friend, because Germantown, Tennessee is not really a big area, but it's a little nichey, and everybody kind of knows everybody's business.
Yeah.
So I had a friend of mine come to me and ask me what I did in my divorce journey, because he himself was experiencing it. And that's right when I resonated so strongly with a lot of things that was going on, because everybody's personal journey is their personal journey.
That's right.
And I kind of just dipped in, and I was like, and telling him about mine. He was like, I never knew you went through all that stuff. I'm like, well, it's not like we put all of our business out.
That's right.
I'm not on Facebook. Hey, hey, this is what I'm doing today.
Yes.
So I started helping him, and he was telling me all the dark experiences he was having. And I really, a couple months later, without really coaching him, I was coaching him. And he even came back to me, and I still talk to him every week. He's like, had I not met with you, he goes, I don't know where I'd be at this point in time. He's like, you gave me confidence. You gave me a sense of hope that this is going to be over.
Right.
And so I started that. And then that's where you can kind of see things kind of going this direction. And then I meet a divorce coach. Then I find out about divorce coaching. And then I find an educational platform. So I'll go and get training. So it developed this where I was like, this is exactly what I need to do. Because I remember sitting in a courtroom like, there has to be a better way.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh. So now I found it. And then I'm like, okay, this is exactly what's driving me to do this. Like, I've never done just a complete startup. So this is very new to me.
Okay.
And it's starting to take off in many directions.
So again, this is new. I didn't really know about this. We know one thing, though, divorces happen pretty regularly. It's a pretty high percentage of it happening to everyone. So I want you to try your best to explain to me if I'm in that situation and I, get in an engagement with you. What does that process look like? How are you helping me? Tell us all about it.
Sure. So if you were experiencing a divorce, either if you're the one that's going to issue the divorce or you're the one that's have to respond to it, do you actually know what you're going to do? What are you going to do next? What's your first plan of action? Most people say, I gotta call an attorney.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have one in mind? Yeah. I saw this guy on Facebook, or I saw this guy or my friend told me to go see this person. Okay. Let's see what that looks like. Like, is that the person that you really need? Well, from your financial background, from what your situation is, because your situation is different than everybody else's. How do you know that that is the right attorney that you need to fit your needs? You don't know.
Right.
And so you come to me and you have absolutely no agenda of how to divorce, even if you've been divorced before. Because a lot of people, I see time and time again, it's like you divorce, you get remarried, 10 years later, that divorce picture is different.
Yes.
It's a different situation. So how do we go about that? So a divorce coach, we help create plans of options for you. And we help paint the picture of what this divorce kind of looks like. Help you find the resources you need. So let's say, Roger, can come to me. We have an hour. We go through the whole situation of why you're getting divorced, what your situation looks like, what you want out of this divorce. Because most people don't understand, as the client, it's not you working for the attorney. The attorney works for you.
Okay.
So however you want a divorce is how your attorney is going to say, all right, if you want, I just need more money. Okay, well, I'll go fight for it. And that's what they do. And there's nothing wrong with what they do. That's what they're paid to do. But the problem is you make, let's just say $100,000 a year and your spouse makes the same. You don't have a lot of assets. You have small children. You don't have a lot of savings. Why are you going off and spending $300,000 on legal fees, fighting over the dogs? You know what I mean? It's like, what are you talking about here?
Yes.
So we help really, we're experts in the process. Okay, understanding where you are currently, and you're having a lot of, you're 100% emotional all the time, even if you don't know you're emotional. So I'll give you how this kind of formulated in one place. I have a neurosurgeon as a client of mine right now. And how I got him is with me going into these hospital institutions. So the hospitals put in their weekly newsletters or marketing, hey, if you're experiencing separation or divorce issues, as the institution, we're here to help. And, call the service and, they can walk you through this process.
Okay.
I get, on my website, I get a message at 8:30 p.m. on a Thursday. And, I look at it, I go about it. It was like an emergent case. So I call him. I'm on the phone with this guy for almost 2 hours. So he's a neurosurgeon. He's got a case at 6 a.m. Friday morning. An 8-year-old has a brain mass that he needs to go in and operate on. Whether or not it's successful dictates this child's life.
Okay.
So he has to be on his A game. And as any medical personnel or professional, they're trained for a lot of things. They're not trained for this. And so what does he do? He calls me in a state of panic. Neurosurgeons don't panic.
I hope not.
They don't panic. So you have this, I don't know what I'm doing, this institution, I've been here a year. My wife, I think, is going to move home, take the kids, all these things. I'm like, hold on. First off, you just told me you have a major case in the morning. Let's focus on that. All right. Number one, you're going to be fine. Monday, we're going to meet. We'll go through this whole process. And because he's just throwing off questions. I mean, is she going to, I'm like, look, first off, I'm not an attorney. I'm not going to give you any legal information. But number two, nobody's going to dictate your outcome. Not even attorneys can do that.
Yeah.
So I kind of walked him off the ledge and got him focused forward on what he needed to do. The case was successful, and Monday we met. And then he's in this process, and it looks like he's going to have a favorable outcome.
Yeah.
He's one of actually my first clients.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he can't express enough. And he's also helped me get into other facilities as well.
Yes, yes.
So really, you come to me for guidance, for coaching. Chris, I don't know what to do. This is my situation. Okay. Now that I understand your situation, I work with certain attorneys. I'd like to work with just about every attorney and understand, look, I'm here working with you and trying to help create organization, preparation, helping these people understand that they have a vision.
Right.
Now, I have many women that come to me and say that I don't want my spouse to have parenting time. But why? I mean, is he have an addiction problem? Is he a bad dad? Is he abusive? I mean, no, I just don't want him. Okay, we'll see what that looks like. So it's like, all right, you are creating a situation that is going to be very costly, number one. Number two, is that really the best way? Are you going to look back 3 years from now and say, I should have never done that? He's a great dad just because he slept with my sister. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't stand you. You know what I mean? So it's like, come on.
Yes.
Let's think about this as a business.
Yes.
So I help kind of shift perspective too.
Okay.
Because if you look at things as a business, and most people don't have business backgrounds. Hell, I don't even have it. I just have experience in business. Mm. But people are highly emotional, and they do not make rational decisions.
That makes sense.
And when you walk to an attorney and say, here's my life. Here, help me. Mm. And they're, okay, well, tell me what you want to do. Mm-hmm. Most of the attorneys I talk to, people show up to their office, and they have to draw things out of them.
Yeah.
And then 3 months later, they figure out that that's not even the real story.
Oh my goodness.
It's like, all right, I've been doing this for you, and all of a sudden you didn't tell me about this affair. Yeah. Or you didn't tell me about this hidden $1 million you have in a bank account. Yeah. So it's like, come on, what are we even doing here?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think you've done a great job of creating the framework of what you do and those services that you provide. You know, it's not going to be a set thing because everyone's situation is different. So you just go in, have a great discovery as best as they will share.
Right.
And then you just try to facilitate them through that process. Now, as we're trying to continue to learn more about what you do, I always like to ask, who is a good person or who's an ideal person for you to get in front of? Now, of course, a person that's doing divorce, or is that a medical facility? Who would you say is an ideal client or person to get you in front of?
You know, I've had many people ask me this question, and is it higher income people or higher conflict individuals or whatever the case may be? And also, you know, people that are even undetermined if they want to get a divorce. Like, I'm not an advocate for divorce. I'm not an advocate for marriage. I'm here to help you understand what decision you need to make and help create the options that, hey, this is what this picture looks like. Mm-hmm. Okay, you may see it this way, but you have other options here too. You could go down that. So as far as people, what would ideally be? Ideally is just men or women that absolutely need help. Okay. They're experiencing traumatic situation, mm-hmm. and most people have no idea what they need when they're vulnerable. Yeah, you know, they're looking for. They know their finances are going to be hit. They know they're going to see their child less. They know that their life has just been turned upside down. Do I have to get a new home? Where am I going to live? What am I going to do about my investments? Is my 401k screwed up? Am I going to have to get another job because I can't make enough money? Mm-hmm. So ideally is just really anybody that's experiencing help, that needs that help. Because, you know, everybody, you know, we're all human. We all need different help in different ways. You know, I know what my flaws are, and when I need help, I ask for it.
Right.
You know, especially men. You know, mostly men, alpha men have the hardest time asking for help, as you know. And statistically, men get hit harder financially, see their kids less, pay more money in child support or in legal fees. You know, and you see it time and time again. Yeah. So I have people who are, you only with men or, you know, no, I literally everybody.
Yeah. Whomever.
And now that this practice is kind of, because I'm an entrepreneur and I'm about creating kind of this model, being into corporate and institutions or from the employer aspect.
All right.
Let's look at a medical facility. So a hospital, if you have a neurosurgeon, let's just keep that on the table.
Okay.
Neurosurgeon that you have recruited from, let's say, Seattle. It literally costs the institution $200,000 to $250,000 to recruit that person, to get them over to the institution and start getting acclimated into what's going on. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
What happens if that person gets a divorce and moves back? You're not under any contract. So the institution itself just lost a lot of money, and now we have to recruit again.
Yeah, that's a big investment they had to make.
So it's like, all right, employers, people look at employee like as your employer. I experienced divorce myself personally, and also having employed a lot of people, I've experienced it from the employer aspect. And I'll give you a scenario. So I had one of my employees that worked for me for 7 years. One of the best employees I ever had gets divorced. Okay, immediately, Chris, I need some help financially. Okay, I'm gonna take care. I'll do what I can to take care of you. So I start helping him. I help give him. And he worked. He's just like, well, I'll work more hours. I'll do whatever I need to do. So I helped get him. He had to sell his car. I was like, well, I need you at work. So let me help you. I helped finance a new car for him. Help give him a little money financially. But then what happens? He starts habitually showing up late, or not coming in at all.
Okay.
And if you work in a retail establishment, time is absolutely money. If you're not there to open the door in the morning,
yeah,
I'm losing money every second.
Yeah, especially in that industry.
Yeah, so it's like,
sure.
okay, and all of a sudden things come up missing.
Oh no.
And then I'm like, what is going on? So I start seeing this, and it's like, oh my goodness. So he was just suffering. Mm-hmm. And at that point in time, I was the employer. I was just like, how do I help you? I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
When the case is he hired a terrible attorney, and then the attorney dropped him because he couldn't afford to pay him.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't even know that until after the fact.
Yeah. So he's going through it both financially and emotionally. So it seems you come in and then you're able to help. Like I said, it just seemed like helping God because, as a man, I can honestly say it is challenging sometimes for me to ask for help. Now, as I've gotten a little bit more mature, I understand the importance of delegation and, all right, I know I can do it, but I got to let other people do their thing or, micromanaging or whatever, especially when it comes to the office. So it seems like you just help to distribute those tasks and make sure. Now, one of the things I know for sure, you flew in from Memphis. You said Seattle. Geographically, you have people all over the country?
I have
what's
clients
status?
in UK.
Okay.
I have one currently in Italy.
All right.
Obviously, I do not speak Italian, or I do not speak other languages, even though I took 5 years of Spanish.
Oh my gosh.
But yes, as long as now with Zoom, with COVID, as you know, was a disaster. Mm-hmm. But in many aspects, it's created.
Okay.
So now this creates a platform for this type of service to actually be in reach everywhere.
Okay.
The old school tactic of face-to-face coffee, handshakes are almost kind of gone. So this is kind of the new normal.
Right.
So with Zoom and things of that nature, I'm able to get into a lot of different spaces.
Right.
Now, as a certified coach, we don't have to be licensed in a state because, we have certificate of training and purposes like that. So we don't have to have different, things in different states.
Yeah.
We're not hauling off legal advice, so I don't have to tell you, well, in your state, this is what you need to do.
Right. It's not like you got to pass the bar in every state.
Exactly.
Because you're not an attorney. You're just helping to guide and facilitate.
I'm helping, basically, I'm like the point guard of the game.
Okay.
I'm facilitating.
Okay.
Because most people have no idea what they need.
Yeah.
They really don't. And
it's
crazy to me is you go, you work, and I ask people, we go over their assets, and they're like, well, I don't know where this money's at. I'm like, what do you mean?
Right.
What do you mean? You don't. Well, I think it's in this fund, but I'll have to go find it. I'm like, you don't know where your money's at.
Right.
So it's like, okay.
Right.
Then we have to start looking at maybe a CDFA, or we need to help create this, financial picture for you. And I'll be honest with you, I remember, you probably do too, because we're around the same age. Did your parents ever sit at the dining room table on Sundays and balance a checkbook?
I've seen my mom do it.
Or somebody, at least one of them did,
yeah,
right?
I've seen my mom do it, yeah.
I remember that, and I was always like, as a kid growing up, I'm like, why are my parents sitting at the table every week balancing a checkbook? It's a historic event now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's
Makes
not
sense.
even
Yeah.
like I can't remember the last time I wrote a check. Like is that real? People still have
Years.
checkbooks?
Yeah. So, yeah, some of them do.
So
Some,
yeah,
not
I
many.
mean it's just like one of these things. Like it's almost like you go through the old school steps, and you really have no idea what you need until you need it.
That is fact.
And
That
for
is
a
fact.
professional, I can understand, especially in most people's kind of picture of what's going on, is what obstacles may arise.
Mm-hmm.
So I help prepare them for everything.
Okay.
And I help them also with communication. Because communication to me, I would say 95% of my clients today have issues with communication.
With speaking?
Just
or
speaking.
just
Just talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
Much less talking to their spouse.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
I mean, that communication is so valuable.
Okay.
And it's crazy to me because that's where a lot of people spend a lot of money with attorneys.
Okay.
And I create that picture of like, all right, most attorneys, let's just say it's a $5,000 retainer, billing it out at $300 an hour, 16.6 billable hours.
Okay.
Do you realize every phone call, email, everything you do is part of that bill? And you're asking questions of why your bill's $7,500 at the end of the month when you've already given them $5,000? I'll tell you why. Because your spouse showed up 45 minutes late for drop off, and now you're going bananas to your attorney because, Joe Smith is late habitually.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going off the deep end. He's going to take that email, or she's going to take that email and go to the other attorney. You need to tell your client to be on time.
Yeah.
He had a whatever. So it's back and forth.
Yeah.
Guess what? That's a $900. That's a $900 45-minute bullshit email.
You said yes.
And
yes,
you
yes.
just now you're asking me questions of why. Like,
Right.
come on.
Right. Right.
Let's see what this looks like.
Right. Right.
So
right.
really, just communicating. It's just communicating.
I got you. I got you.
And it's a hard thing to do
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
when you're triggered.
Yeah, I would say you got to the way that you've explained it. It's people making emotional decisions at that time. So it's real challenging for them to separate and understand. What is a little bit more reality in comparison to what is emotional. So you just help to say, hey, look, now we got to be rational about these things. It seems like there's so many different aspects of it.
It's
just how to help them tighten it up.
It is, because if you look at this like a business, that's what I always try to say. Divorce is a business. People are like, well, it's a game. Well, okay. It can be.
Yeah.
But we have to play this game making logical decisions, not for just the now. Because you're going to look back from this and be like, I was such a shithead. Like, why did I do this? Like, no, let's take you, we're Michael J. Fox here. We're going to go back we're going to go future forward. Look back today. What would you want to say to yourself?
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people, it just clicks. It's like, oh, yeah, I probably want to do it this way. So creating options and helping people understand, because when you get a legal document, I would say most people go cross-eyed. And it's weird. It's just those little bitty words that you never see all day. Throws your whole mind off, and you can't understand what you're reading.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, this is what we need to look at.
Okay.
So it's just really a plan of action, and then plan for future success.
Yeah, of where you want to go in the
Right, because
future.
some people are going to need therapy.
Okay.
Therapy is a big deal. Therapy and coaching, there's a big difference between that, but we play in the same space. Just like the attorneys, like just about anybody that's successful, like as an entrepreneur or a business or anything like that, you're only successful as big as your team is.
Okay.
It's really hard to have one person just carry around success. You have to have the right people in place.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And as you know, in organizations, when you grow, you're growing because of the successful team you have.
That is right.
And it's the same way in divorce. You can do it, go in by yourself, and you could just get an attorney, and you can divorce, and you may be okay. But what if you're not?
Yeah.
What if you hire the wrong one? What if that ruins Junior's tuition at private school?
Yeah, whatever.
Or you have to get a new house, and it's not as nice as the one you... There's just so many levels of it.
Yeah.
And we see it time and time again that people are like, I can't believe I fought my ex-husband as much as I did. Like, we had this boat, we had this, we lost that. Yeah, because you're paying your attorneys because y'all are both stupid. It's like, it's like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like you bring that your experience, that you've had in it, and the experience of others, and going through it to help them on the other end. And we truly do appreciate you sharing that, your journey, telling us about your business. One of the things, as far as with the next section, that I always like to ask are about some of those skills that you have acquired and nurtured over time. Now, having the liquor stores, having the experience with that employee, now with the newer business, you got it up and going. There's some things that you have learned in those skills. Can you please share with some of the entrepreneurs that are watching today some of those skills that have helped you to be successful that they may add to their bag?
I would say my journey, when I went through my divorce, it really opened my eyes. I was that guy who I felt like I had it all, right? I had beautiful wife, good family, good business, making money, love playing golf. Like no 30-something-year-old guy has that kind of time and availability. And when I went through this divorce, it hit me like I'm mortal. Like I really need to focus on what's important. So I found humility.
Okay.
Humility is something I've never really kind of ever come across. To be a leader and be a leader of people, I think you have to have humility. Because I don't think you can actually focus on longevity and have a clear mental focus if you haven't experienced some type of traumatic event or finding humility. So finding humility for me was a very eye-opening experience, and being patient.
Okay.
I think learning patience, I've had ADHD my whole damn life, and I do have my moments where I just need to slow down. But I find it to where when I'm now making decisions, I think through things now a little differently. I'm more patient on responses. And it's also helped me with this new business is really understanding and helping people kind of overcome their obstacles.
Okay.
Because I think had Chris prior 2018, I would have never had that.
Okay.
I wouldn't even be here today being able to talk to you about this.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate you have to go through that experience,
Well,
but it helped to dole off some of that sharpness with the decisions so quickly. It seems like Chris in the past, because of the success, would just I'll just make that decision. Whatever. I don't care about it. But going through some of those things you've experienced over life, you can say, hold on a second. Yeah. Let me not make this emotional decision right now.
Correctly. And it makes you a better father.
Yes.
Makes you a better friend.
Yeah.
A son, a partner. It really transcends your life.
Okay.
It really does.
Okay.
And it's weird because I remember my dad as a kid, he's like, you just need to slow the hell down. I was like, it's just.
Yeah.
But it always seemed to work for me. But did it? I mean, did I just get by? Or was I making clear decisions that I probably, now looking back, we all look back and be like, well, I wish I would have done this differently.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
but this is a time where you can't really afford to do that.
Okay.
Because if you do, how long is it going to take you to repair that?
Yes, that is fact because you are in the
not just financially, it's your kids.
Yes.
Like, see, if you have children, your children feed off your energy, and I remember, my son as he's gotten older, like he's young enough to where he didn't really remember all of that, but like my daughter was 12 when my ex and I divorced, and it impacted her. She was really close to her stepmom, and she fed off this energy. And I would come home like from golf or whatever, and my daughter would just look at me and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm a 12-year-old. Yeah. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Some whatever. Right. She's she would just come and lay on me. She's like, "But are you okay?" And I'm like,
she could feel that energy.
I go in the kitchen. I'm just because I don't want to let her see me down. But it's like
that's right.
A 12-year-old can sense that.
Yeah.
If a 12-year-old can sense that, anybody can sense that.
Makes a lot of sense. Now, I want to ease off the heavy because we've been heavy in here.
We've been going at it.
Like I said, we've been heavy. We've been deep into it, and I definitely appreciate you sharing that. It's truly important to me that you've been able to peel back some. But I want to talk about Chris just a little bit. So let's say that all right, my business is up and going. I'm counseling these people. I'm getting them in the right direction as far as when it comes to those separations and those divorces. And now I have more time to myself. So Chris has time to himself and money's not an option. What is it that Chris would do with his time?
I would say one of the biggest joys of my life is coaching my kids.
Okay.
My daughter's 18 now, so she doesn't need me. But my son, he's 7, and there's no greater joy than spending time with him and coaching him on the golf course, basketball court, football, whatever it is.
Yeah, I was going to ask what
But
sports.
like I love every second of it.
Okay.
And I love trying to help him learn how to compete. Myself, I'm very competitive, so I still play golf quite a bit.
Okay.
So if I don't have my kids, golf course.
You find a good golf course?
That's right.
Hey, listen, I'm not great on those links yet, but if you want to get on Golden Tee, I'll get you, man.
Man, you'll probably whoop me on some Golden
I
Tee,
can do that, but actually hitting that ball straight, oh, man, I got to work on that part.
I think that's why people are like, what draws you to golf so much?
Yeah.
You know, I was like, Michael Jordan said it the best. He goes, you know, I conquered basketball. I can't conquer golf.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, well, if Michael Jordan says that, then all right.
Yeah, talking about want to be humbling, because I played baseball when I was coming up, and I could hit a fastball, I could hit a curveball, and can change up.
Yep.
But that ball that is just sitting right there,
right.
being all nice and peaceful,
right.
it's so hard to make it
Play
go
with me.
straight.
Just hit me
man.
straight
It's
down the
please,
middle.
man. Now,
I'm going to hit you on a tree.
yes. Now, the slice. Now, you want to have a slicing
You play
contest?
the slice? Do you play the slice?
I will a little. It depends on who I'm playing with.
Yeah.
If like we're scrambling and we need my shot, then yes, I will face that way and make it go straight down there. But if I have someone else, I will try to hit it
I have
straight.
a friend from Boston who literally, when I first played with him, he goes this way. I'm like,
Yes.
we're all looking at each other like,
Facts.
where are you going, bro?
Yeah.
Dude, he hit that thing, was like a boomerang.
Man, I'm telling you.
I was like, wow, okay.
Nah.
It's
Yeah,
like
like I
that.
said, I have that shot down packed. But
like,
and I'm
whoa.
telling you, I will face over here and it'll land right over there. Or like I said, if I try to hit it super hard, it is gonna.
But it's also one of those sports too, because I'm a social individual, and I love it. You know, because I mean, if you played baseball, you know, you grew up on a team sport. You know, that team sport, it's something that growing up, and I feel like this new generation's a little cheated. And like I coach basketball now for 7-year-olds, and like I remember, like I grew up on a street of like 40 and 50 boys. We competed every day. I didn't even eat dinner sometimes.
Okay, I get it.
Because we're out competing, playing pickup games. Where is that today? Like, you know, like I hate that. Like I'm trying to find gym times for my kids, and like I remember, and my dad's like, man, I remember like these kids don't even want to go in and play. I'm like, it's just different.
Yeah, it's a different now, especially with the technology, because we didn't have the technology that they have, and you know we want them to be quiet, so we will do it. I've been fortunate that mine, you know, they do go outside, so I mean it's still a mixture now. They play that game. They play the game a bunch.
I know. I hate those games. It was like, you know, we had Nintendo as a kid.
Yeah.
And that was only like specific occasions, because when it was raining, guess what? We're playing tackle football.
That's right.
You know what I mean? We're going out
there. Yeah.
We're playing. I mean,
Yes,
we're not doing all this crap.
Yeah, it makes a lot of
You know,
sense.
I enjoyed Mike Tyson's Punch Out and Zelda. You know, I'm speaking my age, but
Yeah. It's all good. They were great games,
great
you know.
games.
But
I
at
still
least we
remember
went
the
out.
cheat codes.
We went outside. I think it was up, right, up,
Yep.
left, right. Some
A-B start.
A-B start.
Select.
That's that contra.
like contra.
That's that contra right there. But yeah, I definitely appreciate you coming in today,
Thanks for
sharing
having me.
us about your journey. You know, actually peeling back some layers, and you know, we truly do appreciate that. And my next section is communication, like we talked about. Now, if someone that is watching the show today wants to get in contact with you about those divorce services that you're offering, or wants to talk about some of those topics on humility that you were talking about, what's the best way for people to contact you?
Website, LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. My website, www.divorcetom.com. That's Divorce Team of Memphis. So I'm in the process now of creating a new entity, because I thought my direction was in Memphis, and now obviously I am all over the grid. So I'm in the process of kind of forming another entity, because now I have other people that I'm collaborating with, and we're all kind of collectively starting this new company.
Okay. What's the correct spelling on LinkedIn for them to find you? Is it Christopher or Chris?
Well, Chris Stuart, yeah.
Chris Stuart.
Stuart. Good way to reach me on that. And questions. A lot of people have questions about it, because it's alien, right? Now, a lot of people, newer things, what can he do? What can he do? You know, X, Y, Z. So I'm all about education, like educating people about what we can do, what we can't do, and how we can help people.
Okay. Well, again, definitely appreciate you coming on and sharing. And for us, we're truly appreciative of you coming in. And to honor that, we always give our guests the last word. So please look over there at your camera and tell the people something good.
I would say in closing, I know we've kind of been in a difficult space, but a lot of people are experiencing difficult situations, and it's okay to get help. And most people don't really know where to start, but I would always say the best advice is just to start. Whether or not it's in the right direction or it's not, just taking the first step is really the most important thing to do. So it gives you that sense of hope.
Right.
And I would always say, never give out on the hope, because everything is going to be better at some point in time.
Okay. Excellent. Those are wise words. We definitely appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Chris.
Thank you for having me. Really enjoy it.
And to everyone that is watching, be kind and thanks.